Okay, everyone's video on Saturday, the 30th of August, 2025, just gone 2:32 p.m. Chicago time. Do hope you are doing well. So it's the weekend, time for another weekend futures market recap, where I'll go through 15 of the largest futures markets and I'll show you what I'm seeing on my charts. Do hope your trading is going well. I'm actually in the UK at the moment, just for a few days to see my mother, who's in a nursing home here. She's 95 years old, I've mentioned that before, still going strong, extraordinary. Anyway, she's quite a woman. Interesting being back in the UK at the moment. I'm so conflicted whenever I come here because the UK is in terminal decline. It's sad to say something like that, but things are not good here. Although you wouldn't know it from looking at people on the street. Shops are still busy, the pubs are busy, restaurants are busy, there are some new restaurants and new shops opened up, so on the face of it, looks okay. But there was a demonstration in the afternoon here, pretty noisy, went on for 2 or 3 hours, and there's all kinds of talk about the fiscal position in the UK and potential IMF bailouts in the future. So yeah, it's just a strange mix of pros and cons. And you wouldn't be able to see it in the British pound when we look at the Forex charts. The pound seemingly is doing quite well. Anyway, enough of that. We're going to get to the charts. We'll talk about the Emini charts first, and then we'll go on to the futures markets and see what's going on, particularly in gold, which we need to catch up on, and crude oil. So, daily chart of the E-mini. We're still in an uptrend because the background is in red on Beta Pro-Am over here, which means we're above the trailing stop on Beta Pro-Am because the professionals came in at the lows in April and we haven't seen professional activity to trail that stop up yet. So we're in an uptrend. The bars are red, which shows that cyclically we haven't broken any important support levels, and so we're in an uptrend. But we did have some weakness on Friday, and I think the high on Thursday to the low on Friday was 120 E-mini points, so it was a pretty serious decline. And we got a nice signal on a 13,500 dip bar chart, so we'll look at that in a second. Cyclically, yep, we got a pullback to end of trend a few days ago, and then we put in another little support to resistance here on that lowest time frame, but we are still above resistance on the intermediate time frame, and we probably have to put in a pullback to end of trend or either a support to resistance on that time frame. Yes, we're getting closer and closer to this cyclical cross on the highest time frame here. We talked about that last weekend with the timing of the different markets with the Russell, the Nasdaq and the Dow. But that at some point was going to play in. But in terms of momentum patterns and amateur professional bars on the daily chart, there's nothing there yet. 135-minute chart. Here we go. We can see these end of trends starting to ripple through the time frames. So pullback to end of trend on the lowest time frame here, making a left shoulder. Pullback to end of trend on the intermediate time frame, making potentially a head move there. We've had another little pullback to end of trend on the lowest time frame here. We've got cyclical resistance on 2 time frames up at the top there. And that's potentially what's going to cause us a little bit of trouble unless we break through Tuesday's trade, because remember on Monday we've got a day off. I think it is Labor Day, September 1st, so no trading, or not much trading at least on the Monday. So let's see what happens Tuesday, Wednesday, whether we still hold and push back up through these levels here. But we do have 2 resistances on the low and the intermediate time frame on the 135-minute chart. In terms of momentum, yes, we're definitely going through lower and lower momentum peaks at the moment, but no blue professional bars, no amateur bars on the 135-minute chart at least. 45-minute chart. Here we go. We've got a Rambo pattern with this week's activity towards those highs. That just means that we've got a low average trade size at those highs. So that's amateur activity pushing up. But on this time frame, you can see professionals came in to hold us at 62.40, and then we had exhaustion sell bullish divergence with a squeeze pattern here, and we rocketed out of there. At the moment, the momentum read is positive up there, so potentially we've got to go see an exhaustion pattern with a 40,000 plus read on better momentum if we catch here at this point here. Cyclical support on the highest time frame on the 45-minute chart. We've got red bars at the moment. Let's see if we catch on Monday. But if we drop through 64.44, that'll be important, and we could run for a while with resistance coming in on the highest time frame here. And that might mean that we get a significant correction down into these levels here, more than we've seen in months and months. So let's see if that holds. That's an important level, 64.44 there. 15-minute chart, here we go. Those highs this week, so the beginnings and the ends of the weeks are marked by these solid vertical yellow lines. The highs of the week were marked by these Rambo patterns, 2 of them, and then we got a squeeze pattern, which is when all the resistance or support levels on a cyclical basis come close together and prices close together, and you can see that's what that was signaling there. We had all of these resistances come in together on all 3 time frames. Price was locked in right there, and that's why we got that squeeze signal, and we came out of that with a nice trending move to the downside. We've caught temporarily with blue professional bars come in here at those lows on Friday, but we've still got to make support on the highest time frame because we're below resistance on the highest time frame. So these lines have got to come together and come down, and we've not seen any trending patterns on the way down. So we could easily break one of these supports, the low or the intermediate time frames, and put in a little pullback to end of trend that'll sync up with that cyclical support on the highest time frame there. So let's see if this level on this time frame is 64.55 for that level to get broken on the downside and get caught with cyclical patterns there. So let's see if that happens Monday, Tuesday. And then lastly, the 13,500 tip bar chart on the E-mini, and these were great in terms of signals this week. So we bounced off Rambo patterns last week. We had amateurs leading the way down here, and then we got a double bottom being made with flush patterns and a Rambo pattern, or a couple of Rambo patterns down here. Amateurs were selling this down, and we ended up rushing to the other side of the congestion zone, back up to those previous highs, and then putting in a whole bunch of Rambo patterns at those points. So that's a Rambo to Rambo channel. So unfortunately, the amateurs getting wrong-footed here, squeezed out of their positions, and they're getting wrong-footed here, and the market weakens from there, and this is where the blue professional bars came in. Monday, Tuesday, we had a U-turn here with blue professional bars selling it down and then picking it up at this point, and that's a very high average trade size. Big pros happening here with the background in blue, came with exhaustion sell at that point, and that's why we came back up. But then when we were starting to make those new highs, like the professionals are never going to let the amateurs get away with making the highs and lows. That pattern is not going to end a move. We're going to have professionals saying, okay, now I know the level that the amateurs will get squeezed out of. I'm going to push past those, and that's exactly what we did. And the professionals came in to take profits at the same level of those Rambo patterns previously. They did it in a couple of legs, up here and up here. Those are the blue boxes at new highs, taking profits, big pro bars because the background's in blue. So super significant. So we didn't have any of that activity the prior week. We had some professionals taking profits here with big pro bars into those highs, but then this activity, we got it 2-3 times into those highs, so that's super important. We got a signal short Thursday into Friday, and then we ended up with a pretty significant down day on Friday, and at the moment all we're doing is just basing here. So the background's in grey, we're in a downtrend, we've not seen blue professional bars at the lows. We've come back up with a pretty big momentum read here, 21,000 compared to that peak. And so we should expect this to roll over. How that's going to work out Monday, Tuesday, I don't know yet. Are we going to come back up to the 65.22 type area, or are we just going to roll straight away? But this downtrend move is not going to be over until we see blue professional bars coming at the lows and mirroring this pattern that we had at those highs. Cyclically, what's going on? Yeah, we've had support come in on all 3 time frames. That's why we've got the solid red vertical lines. Big things happen at triples, either big bounces or big breaks. So breaking 64.60 at this point here beneath that support on the highest time frame would mean we'll end up with a big move to the downside, continuation move on the downside. But how that plays out, I'm not sure. Are these going to hold and we're going to come back up and then come back down? Or we're just going to break straight through it and head down. But this move, this downtrend at the moment is not over until we see blue professional bars, maybe some exhaustion patterns, and some big pro bars maybe coming in there. So let's see how that works out early next week. All right, let's go through the Forex markets first on the tip bar charts. And all of the Forex markets at the moment are really congested. So this is the last 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks activity, bang, bang, bang. And we're just batting backwards and forwards between 17.5 and 16 on the euro. A couple of weeks ago we bottomed here. These are nice patterns for a reversal trade. Big pro bars come in here with exhaustion sell. We came back up, then we gave up the ghost at 17.5, came back into the same pattern again. Big pro bars, exhaustion sell coming in here. We tested and scared people a little bit and then rallied. And at the moment the background's in red, although we've had some blue professional bars coming in here. They've come in on the retrace. The big pro bars are on the retrace rather than up here. So we're still in an uptrend on the euro, but it is still trading in this pretty wide channel. So let's see if we get continuation of the euro. Here's the British pound, which, you know, given the bad news that I'm hearing while I'm in the UK, I'm just stunned that the pound is doing so well. But is this important this week? We've got exhaustion buys, bearish divergence, another exhaustion buy. The blue professional bars are happening on the highs here, this move, and this move, not on the lows like this. So we've broken through the trailing support on Beta Pro-Am. The background's not in grey because we've not made a downtrend in terms of price. We're below the trailing stop here at Beta Pro-Am. So let's see if the British pound can keep it elevated up here or continue on down and break out of this area 34 and a quarter that's been holding us so far. It's been a good move on the pound over the last 3 or 4 weeks from 32 up to 36. But this might be the end of it with this pattern here. But let's wait and see. Let's get confirmation breaking through 34.5 first. Aussie dollar is doing pretty well as well. Backgrounds in red. We have some blue professional bars seemingly taking profits here into close to a recent high, 65.5 or so. So let's see if this level 65 and a quarter gets broken on the downside there. Japanese yen, not done anything in 3 or 4 weeks. We're just range bound at the moment. Backgrounds in red. We're technically in an uptrend. The blue professional bars came in on the lows. We've had exhaustion, sell, bullish divergence, flush patterns. A weakness in equities could lead to strengthened Japanese yen, unwind of the carry trade. So let's see if this can break up through these highs. We should also mention the euro is part of the carry trade now. So if we did have continued weakness in equities, we could see strength in the euro with an unwind of the carry trade there, and the British pound could go down and the Aussie dollar could go down. So remember, there's that dynamic that might play out. 10-year notes, they're strengthening at the moment. We had a nice low being made down here 3 or 4 weeks ago. We rallied. They didn't take profits at these highs. You see there were no blue professional bars, no blue boxes up here. There have been no blue boxes forever until this week's activity. Big pro bars happening there at the moment, so but no exhaustion. Well, the exhaustion buys there. Let's see what happens if the trailing stop gets trailed up and we break it this week on 10 years. That'll head down. And gold. Last weekend I was talking about gold and saying this was unusual. Well, not unusual, but I didn't understand what was happening here with the big pro bars because they didn't come in right at the lows. This move was happening mid-sequence because we'd had previous highs up here on gold. And I was just waiting to see what would happen, whether this would weaken first and then break back up through those highs. That's what happened, but it wasn't a heck of a move down. Exhaustion sell, bullish divergence, flush, and then we broke through 34.40 and this thing raced away. Best move this week in gold, with the gold performance since the beginning of the year, I think, versus equities has been outstanding. It's just powering ahead. Let me just show you that quickly. We've got an asset rotation chart that's pretty good for showing the relative strengths of the different macro trades. So here's gold, and gold, yes, since the beginning of the year has been outperforming everything, and nothing's coming close. We've got equities, emerging market equities, and ag commodities here, but it's 50% of the performance of gold at the moment. So gold is the standout trade this year. So there we go, got resolution on gold. Silver also, super strong, up at 40, I didn't notice that. That's psychologically a super important level. Now we've got exhaustion buy, blue professional bars and big pro bars coming here with the backgrounds in blue. So let's see, it wouldn't be quick to take a silver short trade because it's been so strong over the last couple of weeks, but let's see if that sets up for some weakness and then tests those highs and then rolls over on silver. Bitcoin just can't get a break at the moment, and that's because we've got no big pro bars come in. So what are we looking at? 5 weeks of trade, 4 weeks of trade here, and no blue backgrounds. Yes, we had highs being made with blue professional bars here, lows and highs and some lows here, but they didn't come back in here. So Bitcoin's difficult until those big pro bars come in. I'm not going to call it either way. My guess is that we've got to go further down before those big pro bars come in, but they will come in at some point and catch on Bitcoin. Ethereum's had a really good run. We almost made it up to 5,000. Blue professional bars, those highs, fake out trade, and then we've moved into a downtrend here. So we moved into a downtrend at this point when we broke trailing stop. No blue professional bars here at the lows. They came in on the retrace there, so that means we're still in a downtrend. And on this move down, no blue professional bars yet. So we're still in the downtrend on Ethereum, having had a really nice run. Crude, now this is the crude trade that I took profits on at 65. Got in here after the break, had to sit through a little bit of heat here, but made it out to the target at 65. And the reversal trade looks good as well. So we got big pro bars come in here at 65, and now no blue professional bars at the lows yet. They've come in on the retrace, and we've trailed the stop down. So that is a stair-step trade where we've got the first blue professional bars after that break. So let's look for a continuation of the downtrend, getting through 63.80, 63.60 for a continuation there on crude. And natural gas. Natural gas has had a good couple of weeks. Exhaustion sell, bullish divergence. Not a lot of blue professional bars here. They came in but the lows there at 280. Some profit taken by professionals here, but seemingly we've held. So we're still in an uptrend on natural gas. Copper finally did something this week. We got a background in red, broke into an uptrend, exhaustion sell at the moment there. But I'm just wary of this trade altogether because it's all tariff announcement related from here to here, so I'm staying away from that. Corn has done very nicely, bottomed a couple of weeks ago, exhaustion sell, bullish divergence, flush patterns, blue professional bars, backgrounds in blue, it's all good, and we rocket forward from there. Some blue professional bars taking profits at the highs on corn though at the moment. Soybeans similarly rolling over at the moment, exhaustion buy, bearish divergence, blue professional bars at the highs, some weakness, no blue professional bars, well, one on the retrace here this week, and that's why we've weakened from there. We've come back up to that level, so let's see if we break down through 1048 on soybeans for a continuation there. And wheat looks like it's trying to catch. So last couple of weeks, exhaustion sell, blue professional bars come in. They came in a little bit here, but this is trying to get the move going, and then we tested into that area. That was a nasty test with Rambo patterns here. We hadn't had blue professional bars taking profits here and here, but the Rambo patterns have seemingly held, and we bounced out of a squeeze pattern from there. So let's look for a break up to 536 and continuation of wheat with a reversal trade there. So there we go. I don't know. Interesting. I think the most important market for early next week is going to be the E-mini to see what happens there. If we get weakness in equities, and that could come with weakness in Bitcoin as well. So we're at 108, which is getting closer to 100, but at some point between here and 100, surely psychologically people think it's a good level to step in, because I wasn't convinced by the 124 high. That wasn't a lot of blue professional activity there at all on that high. So we'll see. Anyway, hope your trading is going well. Enjoy a little bit of rest time on Monday. And yeah, good luck with your trading next week.